I believe this line item will adequately maintain services for animal control, and it does include a cost of living adjustment for the inspector. The total public safety expenditures are $2,431,713, an increase of 1.7%. Next is the education line. The school department budget covers the expenses relating to the educational needs of our community. I'm proposing increasing funds to the school department from $10,774,500 to $11,028,000, an increase of 2.4%. This year, the school budget increase may seem smaller than previous years. However, a significant cost has been removed from their budget. It should be said that the cost of our ESCO project, which I'm going to explain in a little moment, will be paid for out of a new line item in the town's budget and will not need to come from the school department's budget. Again, $11,028,000. Under Public Works, I'm proposing increasing this line item for the DPW from $723,615 to $730,120. This budget provides for a level service budget from the current fiscal year. I continue to seek continued level of support for tree warden, parks, and street maintenance services. It also sets aside $9,900 for the municipal building fund for building repairs. Under snow and ice removal, I'm proposing increasing this line item from $110,877 to $112,000 in order to compensate for some higher personnel costs. This budget cannot be reduced from level funding in order to allow for overspending in the event of drastic emergency situations, like we saw this past year. Under street lighting, I'm proposing funding this line item at $80,561. It reflects the cost of providing street lights on the town's roads. Any reduction in this line item would cause the elimination of some non-essential street lights, and the municipal light plant should be commended for holding these costs stable over the past few years. Under trash removal and disposal, I'm proposing decreasing this line item from $384,288 to $379,440. In my opinion, this should be sufficient for providing trash collection and disposal services within the community. Under landfill monitoring, I'm proposing maintaining this line item at $8,000 to cover the expenses of the services to monitor gases from the old Temple Street landfill. Under cemeteries, I'm proposing reducing this line item from $71,187 to $60,088. This line item pays for the salaries of the cemetery superintendent, which includes a cost of living adjustment, and the salaries of the cemetery commissioners required by town bylaw. The Cemetery Commission is not seeking additional funds for additional support of the department this year like they needed to last year. So the total Public Works budget is $1,370,209, which is essentially level funded over last year. Under the analysis of human services, under the Board of Health, I'm proposing decreasing the funding of this line item from $10,000 to $2,000. This helps provide token support for the town's participation in the Regional Health Alliance, a regional effort designed to improve health services in the town and still maintains the revolving fund, which will cover the remainder of any costs associated with the Board of Health. We and six other towns have partnered with the City of Worcester to create this new public health alliance. Under the Council on Aging, I'm proposing increasing this line item from $85,550 to $93,149. This proposal provides for the staffing of the department and keeps the programs running, including Meals on Wheels and the Dial-A-Ride program. It does include the cost necessary to rent space at 127 Hartwell Street, as well as the associated cost with that rental. I could not fund a request by the Council on Aging this year to assume 100% of the costs of a dining room manager that was previously funded through state grants. However, I was able to provide a little bit more of the cost to help support the department. Under Veteran Services, I'm proposing increasing this line item from $138,583 to $138,550. This line item provides for benefits for all the town's veterans and a much-needed increase for our veterans agent from basically $1,700 to about $5,000. Certainly the town has been lucky to find somebody to perform these duties for less than $2,000 for all these many years, but we really need to fix that problem, and we have put aside monies this year to fix that problem. The town also receives 75% reimbursement on any expended benefits, and that is higher this year due to the increased number of veterans taking benefits here in the town of West Boylston. So the entire budget for human services is $233,699, a decrease of 0.8%. Under culture and recreation, I'm proposing increasing the line item from for the library from $368,853 to $377,629. This proposed budget will satisfy the funding requirements for accreditation by the Mass Board of Library Commissioners. It also sets aside $9,900 for building maintenance and includes a cost of living adjustment for their employees. Under the Arts Council, I'm proposing maintaining funds to the Arts Council at $350. The Arts Council provides for the arts within the community through a grant program. And while we are still working with reduced budgets throughout the town, I felt it's important to continue funding this effort again. Culture and recreation expenditures, $377,979, an increase of 2.4%. Under debt service, we are funding principal at $1,130,051 and interest at $62,552. These are fixed costs to the town and represents the amounts of money that the town is required to pay for both the principal and interest on our debt. Next is short-term borrowing, and I am proposing increasing that line from $8,770 to $19,948 in order to cover interest on temporary loans to the town. This is essentially level funded from last year, about $1.2 million in our debt service lines. Intergovernmental, we have two expenditures there. Regional planning assessment is going to be $1,695. That goes to the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission for assistance that they provide to us in regional planning efforts. And the Wachusett Earth Day, which covers the town's participation in the Earth Day program. And like the regional planning assessment, it's based on population and it comes to $2,511. The total intergovernmental expenditures is $4,206, a decrease of 7%. Now let's talk about employee benefits. Under retirements and pensions, it's a fixed cost of town. It cannot be lowered. And the Worcester County Retirement Board requires that we pay $925,246 to meet the obligation for our retirements and pensions. Under workers' comp, it's a fixed cost of the town, and it's based in part by our workers' compensation claims experience. And due to recent claims history, the recommendation of our workers' comp insurance agent, I am recommending that we fund the line item at $54,000. Under unemployment insurance, it is also a fixed cost of the town, and it's based on a percentage of the town's payroll. And I believe that we can fund that at $45,000 for the upcoming year. Under unemployment purchase services, it is also a fixed cost of the town, and it's used to pay the cost of the unemployment consultant of the town. It's an assessment of $2,500. Under group health insurance, it's a fixed cost of the town. It's the health insurance line item for both the town and the school employees. It also covers the retirees' health insurance, and it will come in at $3,084,850. The increase is based on our claims experience for our account. It has also increased a smaller percentage than expected based on a proposed change in some of our office visit copays. So I want to thank the employees in the Insurance Advisory Committee and the Board of Selectmen for their work with me on making those changes in order to make the increase in health insurance a lot less than what it could be. Under OPEB, which is our other post-employment benefits, these expenses are incurred based on Mass General Law, and it is basically the pool of funds to cover the town's bills for retiree health insurance costs for the town's prorated share based upon years of service. So what happens is that we bill other towns for their costs, and then we are billed for our costs. And we are planning this line item at $5,000 for this year. Under group life insurance, it is a fixed cost of the town, cannot be lowered. It's based on stable premium costs, and the finance director has recommended that the line item be maintained at $13,000. Under Medicare, again, fixed cost of the town, based on a percentage of the town's payroll. It's requested that this line item be raised to $175,000 to cover the expenses in fiscal 16. The total employee benefits is a 3% increase at $4.3 million, primarily due to pension and health insurance increases. The final categories are general insurance, and I am increasing this line item from $140,000 to $155,000. As you know, this is still less than what we had historically been paying before moving over to Maya. It also includes the cost of a new building being added into our inventory, i.e. the new town hall. And then, as mentioned earlier, we have a new line item in this year's operating budget, which is the operating budget for the ESCO Performance Contracting Project. And as you may know, this year the town worked with ABM Incorporated to make major building improvements to make our public buildings more energy efficient. They made nearly $3 million in upgrades to our public safety building, our DPW building, the library, and the 2 school buildings. The work at the schools was extensive, to say the least, and the project is paid for by a lease payment to Bank of America, which underwrote the project. The first year's payment must be accounted for within the operating budget as currently presented, and that is going to be listed at $203,749. When this project is finally paid off, the town will be able to either reduce the operating budget or fund other necessary building projects. So the budget as presented, ladies and gentlemen, is balanced. The budget uses $22,420,201 in revenues, $15,000 in overlay surplus, and $37,714 in free cash in order to balance this budget. The town administrators work with the town department managers to return as many funds to the town's budget from previous fiscal years, and the changes in health insurance have all contributed to the success of this year's operating budget. And the total budget, therefore, to be voted on at town meeting is expected to be $22,472,915, an increase of 3%. Ladies and gentlemen, and by the way, that entire presentation can be found on the town administrator's blog on the town's website. I want to end this presentation by just saying a few words about my tenure here in West Boylston. As you folks know, this is my last week on the job here in West Boylston, serving as the town's town administrator. I'm very grateful that I'm able to present these words to you through our public access channels, and I thank them for spending time with me here today to allow me to make this presentation. When I first started here in West Boylston back in 2004, I found myself in a town where I really didn't know anybody, and I was instantly accepted into the West Boylston family. Things were not rosy when I started here at the beginning of my tenure. Back then, the Board of Selectmen were engaged in numerous disagreements with other boards and departments. We were in litigation with the state on like the sewer project and other projects in the town. And there were lots of other large projects that the town was dealing with. Not the least was our infant sewer project, which was struggling through development and construction at that time. Serving as the town administrator in general is not an easy job. Perhaps that's why the average tenure of a town administrator is only 4 or 5 years. In the past 10 years that I've been here in West Boylston, these have been a really awful time to be a town administrator. We had to deal with federal and state and local economic downturns that many municipalities still continue to struggle with. Even given the grim economic conditions and the difficult political challenges that we're facing West Boylston, we've seen a lot of accomplishments over the last 10 years. Some of the things that I know that I'm proud of, having been here to work with, are the changes that the town and the employees have made to reform the town's health insurance program, making it more sustainable and affordable for both the residents, the town, and the employees through contribution shifts and copay changes. Another project that we did this past decade was the development of several strong financial and operational policies, which have led to the town's first viable capital improvement fund and an increasing stabilization fund at a time when many other towns were seeing their stabilization funds or capital funds being depleted. We had to come together as a community to face tough challenges from Mother Nature. Not only this past year, but none were tougher than the 2008 ice storm that crippled much of the region and certainly crippled Ground Zero here in West Boylston. The northern Worcester area was hit really hard back in 2008. And the residents and the staff of West Boylston met that challenge in a calm and deliberate manner. And of that, I could not be more proud of the employees and the staff here in West Boylston. I previously talked about the energy management program that was passed last year. It brought nearly $3 million in infrastructure improvements to our municipal buildings, especially the schools, which will provide benefits to this town for years to come. And perhaps the happiest day of my career here in West Boylston, when we dedicated our first town hall in nearly 100 years after purchasing and renovating the property at 140 Worcester Street. Certainly, I don't take credit for these and a lot of the other improvements that we've had in the town over the last 10 years, for I always thought that I was only one of many people working to bring these benefits to the community. I have been really blessed to have the confidence of a Board of Selectmen and to be able to work side by side with such a wonderful staff. I have much to be thankful for during my tenure in West Boylston. First and foremost, I'd like to thank the Board of Selectmen for my tenure here. They have been patient, they have been accepting, and they have been cooperative throughout my entire career here in West Boylston. To be honest, I haven't always agreed with the actions or inactions of the Board of Selectmen. However, I have a hard time imagining a longer and more productive career than I have had working with our boards of selectmen. I have enjoyed working with each of these fine citizens over the years, these citizens who dedicated lots of their personal time and their family time to serve the town of West Boylston. I've especially enjoyed working with Kevin McCormick, who, believe it or not, has served as the chairman for 7 of the 10 years that I've worked for the town, which is quite an amazing run. I offer all the members of the Board of Selectmen, both past and present, my gratitude for providing such a wonderful working environment for me all these years, and I wish you all well. Next, I'd like to extend my appreciation to the many great citizens of West Boylston who have stepped forward to serve their fellow citizens on boards and committees. I have been honored to work with such dedicated people who serve not only to make the town a better place for their families, but also make it a better community as well. The selfishness demonstrated by those who have served on boards and committees like the Finance Committee, Board of Health, Board of Assessors, the Townwide Planning Committee, the Economic Development Task Force, Parks Commission, various building committees that we've had over the years, and all the other boards and committees that I had the pleasure of appointed or having worked with as elected boards over the years. These people should serve as examples to all the citizens of West Boylston. In my opinion, there are two types of people in this world: those who try to make a difference in their communities, and those who sit on the sidelines in judgment of those who step forward to serve. I thank you all who have served on boards and committees in the town for stepping forward and working on behalf of your neighbors. I was so happy to have met you all. Of course, a town administrator can only last as long as I have by surrounding themselves with great and capable employees. Those who know me well know that I credit the employees of West Boylston for all the good things that have happened in West Boylston over the last decade. I could not have asked for a better staff to share in the good times and the bad times alike. I would like to especially thank my department managers over the years, many of which who have been here throughout my entire tenure, which is a testament for their competence and their commitment to public service. In many ways, saying goodbye to the employees of West Boylston is like saying goodbye to members of my family, and I'm going to miss you all greatly. I would be remiss if I didn't publicly thank the one person who I've had the pleasure of working closest with over the last decade, my assistant, Nancy Lucier. I have worked in public service for nearly 24 years, and in all my years, I have never met anybody as dedicated to helping others in giving back to her community as Nancy does. Through all the good days and even the bad days, Nancy has been in good service to the town that she loves, and she works hard to make me and the Board of Selectmen look good. I owe Nancy a debt of gratitude for being such a positive force in an environment prone to the contrary. And I want to thank you for everything, Nancy. And finally, I'd like to thank the citizens of West Boylston for welcoming me into their town for all these many years. The residents of West Boylston are some of the greatest people I have ever had the pleasure to meet. And the next town administrator will quickly learn this as well. I hope they will have as much fun and as long longevity as I have. I'm talking about the new town administrator. I'm sure that they're going to have a great place in which to work with great staff, great employees, great citizens, and great board members. And to all of you, I want to thank you for allowing me to serve as your town administrator, and this being my last town administrator's report. I wish you all very well. Thank you.